Breaking news from around your world on this Monday, April 29th, 2019. I'm Larry Rice. Afghanistan's president opened a grand council Monday of more than 3,200 Afghans seeking to agree on a common approach to peace talks with the Taliban. But the gathering may further aggravate divisions within the U.S.-backed government. President Ashraf Ghani hopes to showcase unity at the four-day meeting known as Loya Jirga that brings together politicians, tribal elders, many prominent figures, and others. But Chief Executive Abdullah Abdullah, his partner in a unity government brokered by the U.S. after a bitterly disputed election in 2014, heads a list of no-shows. Former President Hamid Karzai, who is also not attending, said that holding the council at this time risks delaying and causing an impediment to the peace process. In his welcome address to delegates, Ghani said, "We are all here to talk about the framework of peace talks with the Taliban. Reaching a sustainable peace is very important to us." Waving a copy of Afghanistan's constitution, Ghani lauded it as the most Islamic of constitutions, an apparent message to the Taliban, who have suggested they want to negotiate articles within the charter without specifying. U.S. negotiators have held talks with the Taliban, but the latest attempt at direct talks between the Islamist group and the government, scheduled in Qatar this month, dissolved over a disagreement on who would participate. The United States spent more than any other country on defense in 2018, but Russia fell out of the top five for the first time in nearly 15 years. The report from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, said Monday that global military expenditure reached its highest level last year since the end of the Cold War, fueled by increased spending in the U.S. and China, the world's two biggest economies. Overall, global military spending in 2018 hit $1.82 trillion, up 2.6% on the previous year. The defense think tank said U.S. military spending rose 4.6% last year to reach $649 billion, leaving it still by far the world's biggest spender. SIPRI said it accounted for 36% of total global military expenditure, nearly equal to the following 8 biggest spending countries combined. China, the second biggest spender, saw military expenditure rise 5% to $250 billion last year, the 24th consecutive annual increase. The others in the top 5 are Saudi Arabia, India, France. Russia had been in the top 5 since 2006 and fell to 6th place. The report noted Russian spending is still 27% higher than it was in 2009. Russia was followed by Britain, Germany, Japan, and South Korea. Saudi Arabia, which is leading a military coalition battling Iran-aligned Houthis in Yemen, was the biggest per capita spender on defense, just ahead of the United States. The SIPRI database outlines global military spending from 1949 through 2018. The Pentagon is reportedly looking to increase the U.S. military's role at the Mexican border and allow several hundred troops to interact directly with migrants. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan is expected to approve a request from the Department of Homeland Security of 300 waivers for military lawyers, cooks, and drivers. The waivers would exempt them from the policy that prevents interaction with migrants so that they can assist in deportation hearings, drive migrants to detention facilities, and hand out drinks and food while law enforcement accompany them. The Posse Comitatus Act prevents the U.S. military from being used for law enforcement purposes, placing restrictions on what those troops deployed to the southern border can legally do. Congress returned to work Monday after a 2-week Easter break, with Democrats planning to press ahead with investigations of President Donald Trump. Lawmakers have been in recess since the release of a redacted version of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report on Russian election interference, which found insufficient evidence to conclude Trump associates collaborated with Moscow, but did not exonerate Trump on whether he obstructed justice. Attorney General William Barr is scheduled to appear before Senate and House committees on Wednesday and Thursday to discuss Mueller's report. Democrats are outraged by Barr's presentation of the report in a way they said was designed to water down damning information about Trump's actions. Spain's Socialist Party won Sunday's general election, giving Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez a chance to negotiate a governing coalition with the far-left United We Can party. The alliance will have to find about 15 more lawmakers from other parties to join in to give Sanchez the majority he needs to hold on to his post. Sanchez's incumbent party won 122 seats in the lower house of parliament, while the conservative Popular Party that once led parliament won just 65 seats, down from 137 in 2016. One reason for the backsliding was a surge by the new far-right Vox Party, which won 24 seats. Spain's ruling socialists are now weighing options for forming a new government. Any coalition talks could take weeks or months and might end in deadlock, plunging Europe's fifth largest economy into a new period of uncertainty as the continent wrestles with the complexities of Brexit and other challenges. A strike among pilots at Scandinavian Airlines has entered its fourth day, with the carrier being forced to cancel more than 1,200 flights for Monday and Tuesday, affecting some 110,000 passengers. The flag carrier of Denmark, Norway, and Sweden says more than 170,000 passengers have been affected since the open-ended strike started Friday. The strike began after the collapse of pay negotiations with the SAS pilot group, which represents 95% of the company's pilots in the three countries. The pilots' negotiations, which started in March, are mainly about salary increases and working hours. SAS CEO Rickard Gustafsson on Monday urged the pilots to resume talks on a new collective bargaining agreement. Contract details have not been released, but the Pan-Scandinavian Union says it wants salaries to be in line with the market rate, while SAS negotiators have called the requests unreasonable and extreme. Analysts estimate that the strike, in average, would cost the company as much as 80 million Swedish kronor, or about $8.4 million a day. Southwest Airlines says Boeing did not tell the carrier and other airlines that it had disabled a safety feature in its 737 MAX jets until after the October Lion Air crash in Indonesia. FAA inspectors also reportedly were not aware of the disabling of the standard feature, which is designed to warn pilots when sensors monitoring the pitch of a plane's nose malfunctioned and gave bad data. Southwest said it turned the feature back on in its planes after receiving the information. The popular 737 MAX aircraft were grounded worldwide after a second deadly crash that investigators have linked to problems with an automated flight control system that automatically pushed down the plane's nose to avoid a stall when sensors detected the nose was rising too sharply. Amazon is reportedly planning to add a high-fidelity streaming service to its music options, including Prime Music and Music Unlimited. While Amazon's existing music services compete with providers like Apple Music or Spotify, the new higher tier is expected to take on Tidal. While Tidal's high-def tier costs almost $20 a month, Amazon's new service will be reportedly around $15 a month. It's unclear how exactly Amazon will achieve its high-quality ambitions. Tidal partners with music technology company MQA, but Amazon apparently wants to move forward without such a partnership. Amazon is expected to launch its service before the end of 2019. Burger King could soon be selling plant-based burgers at all of its locations in the United States. Restaurant Brands International, Burger King's parent company in Toronto, said Monday that a month-long test of the Impossible Whopper at 59 restaurants in St. Louis has gone so well that it will start testing in additional markets. The company said it may expand sales nationally by the end of this year. Burger King is the first fast food chain to test the Impossible Burger, but other chains are offering plant-based burgers from competitors like Beyond Meat. Burger King wouldn't say which markets will get the sandwich next. The sandwich is made with a plant-based burger from Impossible Foods, a Redwood City, California-based startup. And that's your update for this Monday, April 29th, 2019. I'm Larry Rice. Thanks so much for supporting this podcast and for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful week.